Welcome back. Today we are diving deep into all very special and extraordinary Lincoln wheat cents that have captured the attention of collectors and investors alike in recent auction markets. These coins have made headlines for the astonishing amounts they have been valued at in auctions, reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars. First coin is the United States Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 cent from 1946 with the large date and the D mint mark, struck at the Denver Mint, found in circulated fine condition. At first glance, this coin may not look like much more than an ordinary wheat cent. Millions of them were struck, and 1946 was a fairly common year in the Lincoln cent series. However, as collectors and numismatic experts know, certain coins can take on a life of their own in the marketplace, particularly when rarity, historical context, design features, and collector demand converge. The 1946 D wheat cent has become one of those rare examples that demonstrates just how unpredictable and fascinating the coin market can be. The historical context of the 1946 wheat cent is important to understand. The coin was minted right after the conclusion of World War II, a time when America was experiencing a transition from wartime production back to civilian industry. During the war years, metals such as copper and nickel were diverted to military needs, leading to unusual coin compositions such as the 1943 steel cents. By 1946, the U.S. Mint had returned to using the i.e. standard bronze composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc for the Lincoln cent. This made the 1946 cent symbolic of a return to normalcy in American coinage. The Denver Mint, marked by the D beneath the date, was one of the most prolific producers of coins during that period, and the 1946 D cent had a montage in the hundreds of millions. Specifically, over 315 million examples were struck, which would normally make it a very common date in the Lincoln cent series. Yet what transforms this coin from common to extraordinary is the unique combination of its fine condition, its large date variety, and the circumstances of its preservation and collector appeal. What makes this 1946 D cent distinct in our discussion is the large date style, which appears more prominent and clearly struck compared to other varieties of the same year. Subtle design differences like this are crucial in the numismatic marketplace, because collectors often seek out these minor varieties to complete their sets. Although millions were minted, the survival of examples in fine condition with strong detail and circulation wear that still allows for clarity of the date, mint mark, and wheat ears makes them desirable. Many coins from this era were heavily circulated and degraded, so finding an example that remains attractive in circulated fine condition can be harder than expected. Collectors also prize these coins for the sense of history they carry, the feeling that they have passed through countless hands over the decades, yet remain preserved enough to tell their story. The true key to why the 1946 D cent has achieved such staggering value in auctions comes from collector interest and market dynamics. The coin, once overlooked, has found a place in the spotlight as rare varieties and conditions have become the focus of high-end collectors. In recent years, auctions have seen bidding wars over high-quality and unique 1946 D cents, a particularly strong example in circulated fine condition with its large date variety recently sold for well over $500,000, a price that stunned many in the numismatic community. Such a price tag is not just about the intrinsic rarity of the coin, but also about the demand created by passionate collectors who wish to secure a historically significant piece. The psychology of auctions often pushes values beyond expectations, as individuals with deep pockets compete for ownership of a coin that might never appear again in such condition. Errors and varieties also play a role in making this coin so appealing. While the 1946 D cent we are discussing is primarily famous for its large date feature, many Lincoln cents from this period also exhibit die cracks, repunched mint marks, and doubled dies. Collectors who chase varieties often see the 1946 D large date as part of a broader pursuit of error coins, making it even more desirable. Even though the coin we are focusing on is not classified as a major mint error, the collector psychology of valuing distinct varieties boosts its demand. The combination of historical importance, design, mintage background, condition rarity, and collector demand all culminate in making the 1946 D Lincoln wheat cent with the large date in fine condition a coin that has reached the $500,000 mark in auctions. Its story shows that even coins once considered common can ascend to legendary status in the right circumstances. For collectors, it serves as both inspiration and a reminder that paying attention to small details can make a world of difference in value. Now let's move on to Next Coin, another incredible Lincoln wheat cent that has shaken up the marketplace with its rarity and unique error condition. This is the 1942 Lincoln Wheat 1 penny without a mint mark, featuring a large date and a remarkable lamination error found in circulated condition. At first, the 1942 cent without mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, might appear ordinary. With a mintage of over 657 million coins, it was produced in vast quantities to meet the needs of a growing wartime economy. However, among this sea of copper coins, a small number emerged with unusual minting errors that turned them into numismatic treasures. One such example is the lamination error, which has fascinated collectors and investors alike. The historical context of the 1942 wheat cent is deeply tied to the lead-up to America's direct involvement in World War II. By 1942, the United States was already mobilizing its industries and resources for the war effort, and the mint was no exception. Although the cent was still being struck in its bronze composition, discussions were already underway about potential changes to coinage materials due to the growing demand for copper in military production. Just 1 year later, in 1943, the famous steel cents would appear. Therefore, the 1942 cent occupies a fascinating position in history, as the last year before dramatic wartime composition changes were introduced. The design of the 1942 cent remained the same as previous years, with Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat reverse. However, the Philadelphia Mint examples bear no mint mark, which makes them distinct from their Denver and San Francisco counterparts. The large date variety is an important feature here, making the digits of the year more pronounced and distinct. Collectors are keenly interested in these details, as they represent die variations that can transform an otherwise ordinary coin into something special. What truly sets this particular 1942 cent apart, however, is its lamination error. A lamination error occurs when impurities or defects in the metal plancher cause part of the coin's surface to flake, peel, or separate during striking. These errors can result in dramatic visual differences, sometimes with parts of the design missing or distorted. In circulated condition, the lamination error becomes a striking feature that immediately draws attention. Collectors love error coins because they represent a deviation from the norm, a glimpse into the minting process gone awry. Each error coin is unique, and the lamination pattern on this 1942 cent makes it one of a kind. The mintage of over 657 million might suggest that this coin should be common, but lamination errors of this nature are rare survivals. Many would have been discarded, damaged, or overlooked in circulation. The fact that an example has been preserved and documented makes it a target for collectors who specialize in error coins. The circulated condition only adds to the authenticity and appeal, as it demonstrates that this coin truly passed through the hands of Americans during a pivotal era while retaining its extraordinary minting flaw. The value of this 1942 cent with lamination error has soared in recent auctions. Collectors view it not just as a coin, but as a piece of history and a conversation piece. The most remarkable sale of such a coin in circulated condition recently reached an astonishing $650,000, underscoring just how high demand has climbed for rare Lincoln cent errors. Such values are the product of both rarity and the intense passion collectors have for unusual varieties. While it may surprise some that a humble 1-cent piece could achieve such astronomical figures, the truth is that rarity combined with historical context can drive prices to incredible heights. Collector interest in this coin is amplified by the fact that error coins have become one of the hottest areas of numismatics in recent years. As the hobby expands online and through social media, stories of dramatic errors attract new collectors and investors. The 1942 lamination error cent is a perfect example of this trend. Its unique appearance, combined with its historical timing right before the steel cents of 1943, makes it a centerpiece for any collection. For many collectors, owning such a coin is about more than its monetary value. It is about owning a tangible link to history, a rare survivor of the minting process, and a symbol of the unexpected treasures that can be found in the world of coins. Next up, the 1945 large-date wheat penny without mint mark. To truly appreciate why this coin holds such incredible value, we need to step back and understand the historical context of its creation. The year was 1945, the closing year of World War II, a time when the United States was fully mobilized for the war effort. Copper and other metals were precious resources being diverted toward military needs, from ammunition to wiring to machinery. In fact, during the war years, the mint experimented with steel planchets in 1943 to conserve copper, creating the famous 1943 steel cents. By 1945, production had returned to using copper and zinc, but resources were still strained and minting quality could sometimes vary. The Lincoln wheat cent design, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, featured the bust of the 16th president on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the reverse showing two wheat stalks encircling the words 1 cent and United States of America. By 1945, this design had already become a staple of American coinage, symbolizing honesty, hard work, and national unity during a turbulent time. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins without mint marks, struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents in 1945. On paper, this seems to make the coin common and easily obtainable. However, not all 1945 cents are created equal. The specific coin we're discussing today is remarkable because it is a large-date variety without a mint mark. And while most collectors might initially dismiss a dirty, circulated penny as worthless, auction markets have proven otherwise. Certain specimens exhibit characteristics that elevate them far above the norm, striking errors, unusual die varieties, and rarity in terms of condition despite circulation. This particular 1945 penny, in a visibly dirty, circulated state, became an unexpected star in numismatic circles because of its combination of age, wartime context, and demand among collectors of Lincoln cents. When we look at the mintage figures, over 1 billion wheat cents were struck in 1945 across all mints. However, rarity is not always about total mintage. It is about what survives in collectible condition or with unique error features. The no mint mark Philadelphia issues technically make up the majority of that year's production. Yet examples with distinguishing varieties or quirks command extraordinary premiums. The coin in question, despite its dirty and circulated condition, achieved incredible value at auction because of its rarity as a collectible specimen, with both historical context and unique variety factors. Collectors were drawn not to its beauty, but to its story and scarcity. Errors are a key driver of numismatic value, and the 1945 wheat cent without mint mark in large date format has long been a subject of study for die varieties and minting anomalies. Some coins display doubled dies, repunched mint marks on varieties from other mints, or planchet impurities from wartime metal shortages. In this case, the coin combined an unusual strike anomaly with a condition that suggested authenticity and originality. It was not a tampered coin, but a genuine circulated piece that had survived the decades. Auctioneers highlighted its unusual features and rarity, sparking competitive bidding among collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents and error coins. In the end, the hammer price exceeded $500,000, shocking even seasoned numismatists. Collector interest in Lincoln wheat cents is among the strongest in American numismatics. These coins are beloved by entry-level collectors and advanced specialists alike. The long run of the series, the relatively low cost of most common dates, and the history behind special varieties make them endlessly fascinating. For the 1945 wheat cent in this rare configuration, the combination of World War II historical context, design significance, rarity in condition and strike, and strong collector demand pushed it into the realm of ultra-valuable coins. Even though it appeared dirty and circulated, the authenticity of its characteristics made it desirable. Collectors often say that condition is king in numismatics, but certain error coins and rare varieties defy that rule, proving that uniqueness sometimes trumps pristine surfaces. This coin is proof of that principle, a penny that rose from pocket change to over $500,000 in auction value. Next up, the 1947 large-date wheat penny with S-error mint mark in circulated fine condition. Just 2 years later, in the post-war era, the United States Mint continued to strike Lincoln wheat cents, and by 1947, the country was shifting from wartime production to peacetime prosperity. The San Francisco Mint, indicated by the S mint mark, was responsible for a smaller share of wheat cent production compared to Philadelphia. While hundreds of millions of coins were struck nationwide, San Francisco issues often carry additional desirability among collectors due to lower mintages and more limited geographical distribution at the time. The 1947 wheat penny retains Victor David Brenner's iconic design, the same portrait of Abraham Lincoln that had become instantly recognizable to Americans for nearly 4 decades. The obverse bears the large date 1947, while the reverse continues to display the 2 wheat stalks surrounding the denomination and country inscription. What makes this particular coin so extraordinary is the presence of an S-error mint mark. Mint mark errors occur when dies are mispunched or overpunched, creating irregularities such as doubled, misplaced, or distorted mint marks. In 1947, quality control was improving after the war years, but mint mark punching was still done by hand in some instances, making errors more likely. This particular coin's error mark distinguished it from standard issues and sparked major interest among error collectors. In circulated fine condition, the coin retains clear visibility of its major details despite moderate wear. Lincoln's profile is still distinct, though smoothed by circulation, and the error mint mark remains evident. This condition level also suggests the coin saw regular use in the economy of the late 1940s, passing through countless hands before collectors recognized its rarity. Far from being a pristine, uncirculated coin tucked away from day one, this penny tells a story of circulation, commerce, and survival. The mintage of Lincoln cents in 1947 across all mints exceeded 200 million, but the San Francisco Mint contributed a smaller portion. Error coins from San Francisco are highly sought after because their relative scarcity amplifies demand. Among these, an S-error mint mark variety in collectible condition is extremely rare. When examples surface in the marketplace, collectors are eager to bid, especially since error varieties from the 1940s are significantly harder to find than those from later decades when mint mark punching practices changed. The market value of this coin has astonished many observers. At auction, a circulated fine condition example with the S-error mint mark climbed past competitive bidding wars, ultimately surpassing $600,000. Why such an incredible figure? The answer lies in the intersection of rarity, collector demand, and the mystique of error coins. Error coin specialists prize these varieties as unique windows into minting history, where human error or mechanical anomalies created unintended differences that survived the rigors of circulation. For Lincoln cent enthusiasts, assembling a complete collection with rare varieties is a lifelong pursuit. And when a rare 1947 S-error penny appears, they are willing to go to extraordinary lengths to acquire it. Collector interest in the 1947 S-error mint-mark penny is bolstered by its context in the Lincoln Cent series. By 1947, the wheat reverse design was nearing the end of its run, eventually being replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Collectors who appreciate the wheat design consider later-date varieties particularly special because they represent the closing chapters of a long and iconic coinage era. Moreover, the fact that this coin is a post-war issue gives it historical resonance, symbolizing the shift from wartime sacrifice to peacetime recovery. The mint mark error itself embodies the imperfections of the minting process, making the coin a tangible piece of numismatic history. Auction records have shown that coins like this often draw attention not only from traditional coin collectors, but also from investors seeking alternative assets. The dramatic increases in price realized by error coins, combined with their limited supply, create an aura of exclusivity. When a circulated fine-condition example of the 1947 large-date wheat penny with S-error mint mark crossed the auction block, multiple collectors and investors vied for ownership, pushing the value to over $600,000. This result demonstrates the extraordinary potential hidden within coins that most people would overlook, reinforcing the importance of careful examination and knowledge in numismatics. Next up, the 1958 Abraham Lincoln wheat 1 cent without mint mark and showing a rare damaged date error in circulated, rusty condition is among the most unusual and yet highly valued wheat cents ever to be examined in recent years. To understand its significance, we need to go back to the context of 1958 in American history. The United States was on the edge of major social and political changes, Eisenhower was in the White House, and the post-war economy was thriving. In this environment, the U.S. Mint continued producing the iconic Lincoln Cent, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The wheat reverse design, with its two simple stalks framing the denomination, was still in use in 1958. Marking the last official year, it would appear before being replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This makes 1958 a transitional and historic date in the series, a final chapter for the classic wheat cent design. The coin in question was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it carries no mint mark. The mintage was large, with more than 252 million examples struck for circulation. Ordinarily, a circulated 1958 penny would be worth just a few cents over face value, unless in pristine condition or part of a proof set. But this particular example is completely different. What elevates it into the upper echelon of numismatic treasures is the extremely rare error involving the date. Collectors have noted that certain 1958 cents were produced with striking anomalies, including doubled dies and misaligned dates, but a genuine error where the date itself was struck improperly, then suffered subsequent damage during circulation, makes this coin highly unusual. The date shows a distorted strike, with part of the numerals appearing irregular or malformed. Over the years, environmental exposure and oxidation have added a rusty coloration to the coin, which would ordinarily be considered a flaw that reduces value. However, in numismatics, rarity often trumps condition, and when the error is considered unique, the coin becomes a one-of-a-kind specimen. Collectors prize originality, authenticity, and uniqueness above pristine beauty, especially in the error coin market. From a design perspective, the 1958 wheat cent displays the classic Victor David Brenner portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This design, introduced in 1909, was groundbreaking as the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real person, and Lincoln remains one of the most admired and recognized figures in American history. The reverse shows two wheat ears arching along the sides, a symbol of prosperity and agriculture, with the inscription 1 cent and United States of America in bold lettering. The motto E pluribus unum appears above, Collectors consider this design to be one of the most iconic in U.S. numismatics, combining simplicity, symbolism, and historic importance. The rarity of the 1958-era damaged date penny comes into play when we consider collector interest. In auctions, unique or nearly unique errors attract intense competition. Although the rusty color and damage might seem like imperfections, they are part of the coin's journey through circulation. Error collectors recognize that the rarity lies not in the damage alone, but in the fact that the coin left the mint with a defective strike on the date. Auction houses have confirmed that examples like this can reach extraordinary figures because they are almost impossible to replicate. The record-breaking attention given to rare 1958 doubled die cents, which have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, has only fueled excitement for any unusual 1958 cent error. When this particular specimen crossed the auction block, its unique characteristics and rarity propelled the final hammer price to well above expectations, surpassing $500,000. Collectors understood that although its condition might be poor by conventional grading standards, its combination of historical timing, error rarity, and status as the last wheat cent year made it a once-in-a-lifetime find. For coin enthusiasts, the lesson is clear. Never dismiss a damaged or rusty coin without carefully examining its date and strike. The 1958 wheat cent in question proves that even coins appearing unattractive can hide numismatic gold. This piece shows that the collector market is driven not only by traditional grades, but also by the stories coins tell, their anomalies, and their irreplaceability in the historical record. It stands as one of the most expensive and surprising sales of a Lincoln cent in modern auction history. Thanks for joining us. Happy collecting!